Hey, it's Ben with the Russell County Butchery. Today I'm actually not going to talk about butcher stuff, but the hay baler that we're using. So this is a John Deere 336 square baler. We've been making square hay since we bought it last year, and it worked okay off and on. We thought we had it dialed in earlier this year, but lately it's been giving us a little bit of trouble, so that's why we're taking a look at it today. Just real quick breakdown of how this thing works. Obviously driven by the tractor. Tractor spins this flywheel here. As the flywheel spins, the flywheel's going to move the pickup teeth. Pickup teeth is going to pick the hay up, throw it in there. Auger's going to push the hay over. The plunger is also driven by the flywheel. Plunger obviously moves back and forth, pushes the hay into the bale chute. As the hay comes over here closer, these two fingers will come down and grab it and pull it into where the plunger will be in the hay chute. And then once the bale is the right length, this trip lever will actuate the knotters through this mechanism. And then ideally, what the knotters will do is they'll tie two knots, one on each side of the bale. However, right now our knotters are not tying knots in either side of the bale, so we're gonna try to figure out what's going on here. As the hay is getting pushed to the back by the plunger, it's gonna turn this star-shaped wheel right here. As the star-shaped wheel turns, I don't know, it's probably got a special name or something, it's gonna rotate that grooved wheel here. This grooved wheel is gonna cause the trip lever to move up until this notch hits into where that wheel is. Once that happens, over here to the actual drive gear for the knotter mechanism, this is going to drop out of the way. That's going to enable this outer wheel to rotate and spin around, which drives the needles. The needles are going to come up into where the bale chute is and bring the twine up. While that's happening, your knotter drive gear is also spinning. Both of your knotters here, these wheels, are on this shaft and held in place by a woodruff key. This shaft is going to spin counterclockwise, so it's going to go this way. This little sleeve right here will hit the tucker finger assembly. So this arm drives the tucker fingers. I don't know if you can see the tucker fingers in there. Let me see if I can get a better angle on them. So here you can see the tucker finger assembly. Sweeps across in front of the needles. Now the needles aren't up right now, but it sweeps across in front of the needles and grabs the twine, and it's going to bring the twine over here into the twine disc. The twine disc is going to grab it and hold it in place while the knot is being made. All right, so to get a better look, we're going to have to flip this up. All right, so this is your wiper arm. If you look at this wiper arm, it's supposed to be flat. This thing is bent out to the side. Obviously, it's not going to wipe anything. The problem is, if we pull this back down, our bill hook is not facing the right direction. So the bill hook is like a little pincher. All it does is grab the twine, and as it spins, it wraps it around itself to form the knot. So the bill hook is actually supposed to be facing this way, but it's facing straight up and down, and it won't turn because of the way that this gear is made on the other side. So this is the gear that drives the bill hook. And if you can see, it's got a flat side on it here. This flat side is supposed to be against the drive gear for the knotter. I'm not sure how it got out of whack, but we're probably going to have to take some things apart to try to get it back lined up to where this is flat against the inside of this knotter mechanism. This thing is not making knots on either side of the baler, and I was trying to fool with it the other day, couldn't quite come up with it, and then looked again here, and you can see, well, maybe you can't see, somehow we broke our knife. So I think I got a replacement knife, so we're going to replace the knife on this side, and then try to figure out how to get that bill hook lined back up to where it doesn't come apart again. So I think the way we have to spin this thing around is there's a recess right in here and right in here, and you can see from the surface rust, that's relatively fresh. So obviously it's been rubbing here. I'm not sure how it got this way, but I think if we flip this up and engage the knotter mechanism, hopefully it'll start to turn, and then we can get it in that groove and get that bill hook spun around. So let's see what we need to do here. So real quick, you can manually trip the baler to tie a knot at any time. All you gotta do is yank up. Once you yank up, then what you have to do is turn the flywheel. and hopefully maybe we'll see how this thing operates here. If I can hold the phone and turn the flywheel. Just ignore all that metal on metal grating sound. This thing's older than I am, I think. We can see how the needle is actuated by this large gear. So on the inside of this large gear, there's only one little spot right here where it's got this casting, and this casting comes and engages this roller. Now normally, when this lever is up, that roller is inside and that will never hit it. So it can spin around and around, but until this drops down out of the way, that wheel is not going to be engaged. So when this wheel is engaged, this gear is actually going to push it on around. You can see it's connected to this arm, which is connected to our needles, right? So hopefully I can hold it here. We'll see the needles start to move. Now the needles are going to come up into the bale chute. Once it gets to a certain point, the tension's released on the arm. You'll see the trip arm reset. And this is how you adjust the length of your bale. So you just loosen this nut up, move it up and down, and then again, however far that wheel will go up will determine how far it's got to move before that next bale is tripped. All right, so now we can see our needles coming up through here. Keep spinning it here. So it's almost done with the knot tying sequence. So now hopefully we can pull this back down. And then we'll try to get in that recess. Let's see here. All right, so this is how the bill hook is supposed to be lined up. I don't know if that showed that very well, but the bill hook drive gear went into that first recess, and now as it comes down, hopefully we can flatten out. It's a lot harder to do while you're holding a cell phone. I need a full-time videographer. Here's the issue. The flat side, I need the other side of this gear to be in this slot. So I think we're gonna move some stuff. Somehow something's gotten out of kilter here. So let's see if we can take out these shims and slide that over. All right, so part of the problem was the teeth were engaging the gear, kind of preventing me from being able to spin it. So took out the cotter pin, removed a couple shims, and then slid the whole knotter drive over a little bit. You can see the hole there where the cotter pin is. You can see the flat side of this gear is going to rest against the flat side of the knotter drive mechanism. All right, again, that looks just like the other one. So let's make sure this one's still lined up there. And we'll slide it back across, try it again. All right, so I was able to get a new knife on here. Thankfully I had 2 of those, but downside is I only have, I don't have any more of these. This is the wiper. This is actually one I made last year, just grinded out of a piece of metal. It's cracked along here. So we're gonna take it back to the house, pound it out, re-weld it, grind it down, and bring it back out here, see if this thing works. All right, did a quick weld, not the prettiest, but you can see here how this wiper's supposed to work. It pulls along the bottom of the bill hook, if I can get it in the frame. So it pulls along the bottom of the bill hook and slides the knot off once that knot's been made. So we're gonna get everything bolted back up here and got the new knife on there. I'm gonna go ahead and replace this knife here. It's just dull and worn. I think everything's tightened down. So I'm gonna pull the twine out of the needles. So, all right, so first thing, again, just raise the trip lever, lift it all the way up. What we're looking for with the needles, we'll see here in a minute, is how close it is to the twine disc, as well as how close it is to your tucker finger right here. So your tucker finger and your twine disc will kind of determine where your needles need to be. You can see it's kind of rubbing on that one. It's going to be rubbing on that one a little bit. May want to loosen them up. The needles are up here by the twine disc. Okay, and that distance is pretty good. This one's a little bit far. We might pull him a little bit closer to the twine disc. I mean, it's about right on the money. The gap should be like nothing to 3/32, I think, according to the manual. And as far as the line goes, it's actually lined up pretty well. So again, I don't know how much it's going to be hitting on the knotter. May not be a big deal. You can see this one, paint's getting rubbed off. It's rubbing on the knotter some. Move this one down. There's only 2 adjustments on the needles. I think 3/4 inch wrench. So there's 2 bolts here. Obviously, if you tighten the top one, it's going to pull the top in, so that'll bring the needle closer to the twine disc. If you tighten the bottom one, it's going to pull the needle away and move it away from the twine disc. So we're going to loosen the bottom one a little bit. We're going to tighten the top one. That may be all I really want to do. It didn't really move much, move back any. So I think we're good. So it's just like threading a needle, because that's what you're doing. All right, thread that. And of course, I forgot to run it through this here. This helps to guide it. This guide is supposed to go there and then through the needle, so I'm gonna have to redo that one. All right, so we got a PTO running. We're gonna try to get the twine started. We're gonna trip it and see what happens. All right, so far so good. We got twine in the twine disc. All right, trip it again. This side, good knot. Everything looks good there. No bueno. So we got a good knot on this side. That's how it's supposed to look. New knife was a ticket. Unfortunately, this side, we still have the same problem. This was doing it before. The wiper arm got bent again, so something is wrong with this bill hook gear. Saga continues. Probably can't see it down in there, but right about here, there's a broken off cotter pin. So the cotter pin is supposed to hold these shims next to the knotter. So what's happened, I think, is the knotter has shifted over this way. That's what's causing the needle to hit the knotter to bind up the intermittent knotter gear and jack things all up. So I'm going to use this drift punch and get the rest of that. Get the rest of that cotter pin out. See if we can find another cotter pin. Get this thing shim back. Try it again. Broke the cotter pin. Had to replace it with the one from the other side. Also broke my drift, so I had to use this nail. Pound it out. Unfortunately, don't have any more cotter pins. So that's how you do it on a farm. Sometimes you got to use what you got, even if it's not the right thing. The sun's a lot lower in the sky than when I started. Ended up having to take it apart, put it back together, take it apart, put it back together several more times. I think the main issue was just the needle was binding on the knotter, and so the needle was preventing the bill hook gear from turning, and then that just kind of got everything out of whack. But we made some bales, so not a complete loss. It seems like it's tying on its own pretty well now. So got one more little field over there. We got to just bale up a little bit, but seems to be working. Good day.